In the experiment, the results were that 74%. In this video, you will learn a trick to build confidence backed by Ivy League researchers from the University of Pennsylvania. There's a new trick I found out about building confidence from a book I was reading. But before we get into the trick, I think it's important that we discuss what is confidence. Google defines confidence as a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. What the researchers initially did was try to answer a question on the relationship between advice and confidence. Often when someone's not feeling very confident or when we're feeling down, people often give advice to someone who's not feeling very confident. And researchers thought to conduct an experiment to see whether advice helps us build confidence. What the researchers did was they had a total of 174 participants, and they divided them basically into two groups. So one group was called the pursuer group, and the other group was called the predictor group. So starting off with the pursuer group. In the first stage of the experiment, the participants from the pursuer group were instructed to write down a piece of advice on how to lose weight, and this was the same for all participants in the pursuer group. Once they wrote down the specific advice, they were told that that advice that they gave would be shared among their peers who were also struggling to lose weight. Now, in the second stage of the experiment, which is called the receiving condition, the participants then received expert advice from an expert, and essentially they were told to summarize the advice. And then in the final stage of the experiment, the pursuers were asked which of the two conditions made them feel more confident. Was it the activity that they had to share advice with their peers, or was it the activity where they got advice? Now, while that was happening, the predictor group also did some work. And in the first stage, in the giving condition, the predictor group looked at the advice that some of the pursuers created. Now, in the second stage, the predictor group also looked at some of the advice that the pursuers got from the expert. And in the final stage, the predictor group was asked, which activity do you think helped the pursuer group to build more confidence? In the experiment, the results were that 74% of the pursuers felt that giving advice made them feel more confident than taking advice. However, only around 53% of predictors predicted that. So the main conclusion of this paper was that giving advice makes us more confident than taking advice, and that this is often hard for us to instinctively know. In this research paper, the experimenters also showed how giving advice also had a positive impact on one's motivation. In another study, researchers also showed that giving advice has a positive impact on a student's confidence and their academic outcomes. Why is this research so important? In the beginning, we talked about the importance of confidence and how that really affects us both in our social, personal, and in our professional lives. And this trick that I just explained is an easy way to build confidence. It's both actionable and it's both backed by science. So if we're lacking personal confidence, maybe one way to build confidence would be to join organizations or join roles that take more of our input, that where we can give more of our input. And so by giving more of our input and giving more of our advice, then we have a better chance of building that confidence. Whereas if we sort of just sit back and not talk or not contribute, then maybe we won't build that confidence. Now, the other side is that if you're a leader in a group and you want to build confidence and leadership in your team, then one great way of doing that would be to encourage your team members to contribute to the group, to contribute and give their feedback and their advice. And by doing that, those sort of new group members would over time turn into confident leaders. I would like to give a shout out to the book How to Change by Katy Milkman, who is a professor at the University of Pennsylvania. And this sort of research I discussed and this idea was originally mentioned in her book. So check that out if you like this idea and if you are interested in more self-development literature. Then please comment, subscribe, and like this video. Thank you.